This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today at McGuigan's gym by the Tartan Tornado, Josh Taylor. How are you, Josh?
I'm all good, mate. How's yourself? Yeah.
I'm very well, very well. Feeling very old now after our conversation off camera, so thanks very much for that.
I can't believe you're only 28.
Absolute charmer, as always. Yeah, always a pleasure catching up with you, Josh.
It's always good catching up with you. So how you been, anyway?
I've been very well, managed to have a little bit of time off, but now back to it. Sitting down with such nice people as yourself, making me feel $1 million. How about yourself? What have you been up to? The last time I caught up with you was in Glasgow. Had yourself a fight?
After the Postol fight, yeah. Not been up to much really. I took a couple of weeks off, rested, and I kind of got back into the gym and started ticking over again after a couple of weeks. Sort of doing running and going into the gym maybe once or twice a week, doing a little bit of ticking over stuff, and sort of kept my fitness up and kept the weight down. So I felt better coming into camp this time. You know, I feel I've hit the ground running, my weight's lower, and I'm genuinely in better shape as well. So yeah, it was good. I had a couple of weeks off, caught up with my family, just chilled out with the good weather, had a few beers, a few pizzas, and chilled out. Yeah.
Now you say that you sort of kept yourself in better nick after that fight than you have done in previous fights. Was that just because of the sort of scale of the victory? It's like the biggest win of your career. Did that kind of play a part in your thinking heading back into camp? Yeah,
and kind of because of what was on the back of this fight, the back of the Postol fight as well. You know, I've got this tournament coming up, so fighting the best guys in the division. So I said to myself, keep myself in better shape this time around, which I used to do in between fights. I used to always keep myself in shape and train all year round anyway. So I got back to my old self and started keeping myself in shape in between camps. You know, not letting my weight go as high as what it was the last couple of times. Still eating sort of all right and training a bit as well. So I feel good, feel much better for it.
Have you had time to look back at the fight with Viktor Postol? Have you watched it back? Yeah,
I've watched it back a couple of times. Yeah, still very happy with. I'm still very happy with the performance.
It's okay, just drop your phone.
No, yeah, I'm still very happy with the performance, although it was definitely not my best performance. You know, I was kind of uptight and tense and kind of trying too hard early on and things like that. Just because I think what was riding on the back of that fight was me entering this tournament or getting a world title fight. So there was a lot in the back of my mind playing, and I was just trying a bit too hard. And I firmly believe I was only about a 7% performance there. I can box much better than that. I can flow much better, and my boxing skills are much better than that as well. So, but I'm still very happy with the performance, the way I performed. I learnt a few things about myself in there as well, and it was good to go the distance for the first time, and have such a good win, and not your best night against that calibre opponent. You can only take positives away for that. So I'm really happy.
Now, something that we've spoken about in the past, and I know it's something that I've spoken to Shane about, is kind of your perfectionist attitude, as it were. You're, as you say, too keen to impress in some stages against Viktor Postol. Is that something that you're having to work on? Is that something that you feel that you need to manage as you move forward? Because the fights are only going to get bigger from here on out.
Yeah, I think so. I learned a lot in that fight, you know. I mean, I busted my balls every day in, day out, in the gym, every session, throwing as many punches as I can in the bag and hard as I can, and you know, just training real hard and busting my balls every session, and trying to win every second, every round in the sparring. And because I knew I was fit, I knew I could go 12 round distance, but I'd never done it in the fight, and I'd done it in the fight there, and I'd done it at such a good pace, and I could have went 2-3 more rounds, and I was in great shape. So now I'm kind of, you know, I don't have to bust my balls so much every day, and just relax and work on the things that I need to work on, and it'll come when I relax a wee bit more. So yeah, I'm much more relaxed this camp, and I feel I'm performing much better already. So I've definitely learned a couple of wee tips there through that fight. Yeah.
Now you've had time to look back at the win over Viktor Postol. Just how beneficial do you think moving forward? First, we've just mentioned the rounds, but obviously you had to overcome adversity against. I think it's fair to say that he's probably the only current world-class fighter that you've faced. You obviously boxed Miguel Vasquez, who was a world champion at Catterall-Davies, could go on to be world-class. But I think it's fair to say that... Okay, you said that, not me. I think it's fair to say that Viktor Postol very much was world-class. How beneficial do you think that victory was? And the fact that you didn't just breeze through it, you did have to come through some sticky situations. How beneficial is that moving into the World Boxing Super Series?
I think it was great. I think it was absolutely brilliant. You know, I can't buy that experience, you know, in terms of, you know, it wasn't really going my way early on. It was kind of awkward, that amateur style, Eastern European amateur style, bouncy awkwardness, and I had to work it out. My game plan, I wasn't really like sort of executing my game plan as we tried to box. I wasn't really boxing that way we wanted to box, and I couldn't really get things going, and I had to change the way I fought a couple of times and adapt in there, and I learned that I can adapt and I can change my fighting style up when I have to. And then when I started relaxing, my jabs started coming, my 1-2 started coming, and then I started hitting with the bigger shots. I just now know that I have to relax, and you know, and it was brilliant being in there with a genuine world class opponent and having a kind of off night and still coming away with a good victory, and you know, still having more in the tank to go, and I felt great. So it's only positives I've taken for that fight, definitely.
Now after the fight, because it was a very, very good fight, very close, closely contested fight. After the fight, you had the nick in your eye, and I remember there was quite a lot of concern on Twitter and also from some of the people within your team about, you know, the pupil dilation. There was one person who wasn't worried about it, and it was the first time I've ever met him, was your dad. Yeah. Now, your dad is an interesting character. Tell me a little bit about having your dad around, because it was the first time I'd met him, and he was, as I say, the only person who wasn't necessarily worried about it. I think words of like, just get on with it, son, or something like that. But just talk to me a little bit about your dad.
My dad's a great character, you know. He's kind of how I am, the man I am today. You know, take things as it comes, you know, and very respectful, but at the same time, he's not to be messed with as well. He's very like, he's laid back. He's very laid back and friendly to everyone, and you know, a lot of time for people and do anything for anybody. And then he's got a wee switch, a wee bit of the devil in me, and that's what I've got in me as well. So yeah, he's a great guy, and he's great to have around during the fights as well, during the big fights as well. When I maybe get a wee bit nervous or I get a wee bit, you know, a wee bit of doubt in my mind, my dad's very good when I'm there. He's just very laid back and saying, you know, you're going to win it, and he never ever shows his nerves to me, which is really good on fight night and after the fight and all that as well. He's really laid back with it, and I know for a fact he is nervous because I'm his son and I'm in there, you know, potentially like risking my life and my health, you know, but he just doesn't show it, and he disguises it well, and he's very calm. If I catch his eye in the round or sort of in between the rounds when I'm walking back to my stool, he's very calm, and it's good to have him there. He's never ever taken anything to do with my training side of things. He's took me to the gym, and he's took me around when I was an amateur. He took me around all the gyms sparring, and he took me around all the different gyms sparring with different people. But in terms of like going to the coaches, he never ever interfered with any of my coaches and things like that. He let all the coaches do it, and you know, and let me get on with it and learn, which is, I think, is great. He never interfered too much, and he was always at my fights. He would always say his bit after my fights, you know, what he thinks I could do better and what he thinks I need to work on and things like that, which I think is great, you know. But we do definitely clash. We're the same kind of personality, and every time we're doing something together, we're arguing like cat and dog. We're too much alike sometimes. But no, he's never ever been an interfering parent. He's always backed me in whatever I do, and you know, he's always said to me, if I'm going to do something, do it right. You know, do it right. So if I'm going to do boxing, you need to do it right, because it's a serious business. And
moving forward, we've spoken about the past. World Boxing Super Series. First of all, how does it feel to be involved in that tournament? It's something that's been pretty much universally received, you know, positive reviews from people. What does it feel like to be entering that glitz and glamour tournament? I mean, it's kind of like the talk of boxing when it's on. I
think it's great. I think it's brilliant for boxing as well. You know, it's great for my profile. You know, it's getting shown in America, this one as well, with the DAZN streaming thing as well. So that's getting shown in America. My fights are getting shown all over the world. Great for my profile. And it's the best fighters in the division as well, all fighting against each other. 2 belts, good paydays, and you know, it's a no-brainer. And get that Ali trophy, it looks huge. So it looks amazing. That will look good in the living room. So it's definitely good. It's exciting, you know. And I'm able to prove myself with the best guys in the business, which is why I'm in the game, is to prove myself against the best guys in the division. So, yeah, I'm real excited about it. Yeah.
What was it like going to the draw?
Yeah, it was good. It was good, sort of meeting all the other fighters. You know, it was kind of, there was a wee bit of tension there with all the fighters. You know, all sort of sizing each other up and looking at each other up and down and all that sort of stuff. It was quite good. And then the draw got made, and yeah, it was good. It was a good experience. You know, standing up on the stage with the suit on and all that, and getting a wee interview. It's kind of a strange interview. That one was kind of strange with it, but no, it was a good experience. And then went out for a bite to eat afterwards, and I never got to watch the fight. I had tickets for the final of the fight in Russia, but I went to Jake's wedding, so I got picked up on 1 o'clock in the morning that night, and then went to France for the wedding. So yeah, it was a real good experience. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You mentioned that you were all kind of sizing each other up, which I guess is only natural when a load of fighters who are potentially going to fight each other get together. Was there anybody who kind of caught your eye, as it were?
No, not really. I wasn't just sort of. I was under the pressure. I was kind of thinking I was going to get Terry Flanagan, so I thought, right. When I first met him, he was kind of looking at me up and down and not talking to me and that. I thought, he thinks I'm going to pick him or whatever like that. So there was kind of a wee bit of tension there. But nah, apart from that, nothing. It was all right. It was pretty laid back. It was pretty civilised, and it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Now you mentioned that you were.
Nito Donaire, I thought he was a wee character. Yeah, he was good. I was singing and dancing and karaoke star and all that. So he was quite good. He was a good laugh. Good doing the Scottish accent as well.
I can imagine. I actually interviewed him once, and he sang Ed Sheeran for me. And he loves a bit of singing. He loves a bit of karaoke, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's really good. He was standing up and singing in front of everybody, and his voice was pretty good. Yeah, he was funny, good character. I enjoyed meeting him.
Yeah, he is an interesting character. As you say, it was either going to be Terry Flanagan or Ryan Martin. It's not Terry Flanagan, it's Ryan Martin. What can you tell me about Ryan Martin as an opponent?
He's a good fighter. He's got fast hands. You know, he's good timing. He's good at sort of doing his blocks and coming back with good hooks and tight hooks. He's sort of good at everything all round. He's sort of well-rounded fighter. So I've got to make sure I'm doing everything well and preparing well and preparing diligently. So I'm looking forward to it. I believe I'm going to win the fight. I believe I can outwork him. I believe I can beat him in the boxing side of things, and I can believe I can outfight him as well. So I'm stronger than him as well. I'm faster than him, and I just feel I'm better than him in every department. So I believe I'm going to win the fight. But again, I think it's still going to be quite a tough fight, and I'm going to have to be on top form, and I'm going to have to make sure I've prepared well, and I am. So yeah, I'm on the road to being in tip-top shape.
Would you have preferred Terry Flanagan? Somebody, I think, arguably could have been a bigger fight over here because you're both Brits, England versus Scotland. Would you have preferred that fight as opposed to Ryan Martin?
Do you know what? The reason why I was picking it, would have picked him, was because it was what you just said. It was a big fight in Britain, massive fight in Britain. It would have sold out an arena in Manchester or in Scotland. So I think that would have been a huge sort of British showdown going in there for the first round. I think it would be great. But I think it's actually probably worked out better because if he beats Prograis, which I think he's got a good chance of doing, because he's a good fighter, and he's very fit and he's very strong, and he's got a high work rate as well, and he can fight. So if he beats Prograis, I'll then meet him in the final. So I think that'll work out even better. It'll be a huge fight for British boxing and for the British public and the British fight fans. It'll be a massive fight, the final, if it comes to that there.
What do you make of Regis Prograis? I think a lot of people are pinning you two as the final, picking you two as the favourites for the tournament. Do you see it that way?
Well, yeah, I think it could be. You never know what's going to happen, but I believe I'm going to get to the final. I believe I'm going to win the tournament. It could be anyone. I think Flanagan's got a good chance of beating him. But you never know. If it's not him, it will be Prograis. So I think he's a good fighter. I think he's very good. Comes forward, puts the pressure on. Good head movement, good sort of defensive sort of skills, and he puts the pressure on well. So yeah, I think he's a good fighter. So we'll find out who's the best in the final. Then whoever makes it there.
Now, one of the things that seemingly always follows Josh Taylor, or the conversation about Josh Taylor about, is the way you've been matched throughout your career. You've had tough fights, you've had good fights at good stages of your career. Now you're entering the World Boxing Super Series where it's sort of inevitable that you're going to get those tough fights again. How beneficial is it, do you feel that, I mean, obviously without fighting these fights, but how beneficial is it leading into the World Boxing Super Series that you've already got experience, you've already challenged yourself and fought some of the best fighters in your division?
I think it's great. You know, my matchmaking up to this point in my career has been brilliant. You know, I've had sort of a step up every single fight. I've not fought 10 journeymen. I've not fought, 20 odd journeymen. You know, every fight has been a wee step up in class every time, and I've handled every challenge that's came to me and answered every question that's been asked. So I'm very confident of the experience that I've gained as a professional, and also the experience I've had as an amateur all over the world as well. You know, different styles, different skills. I believe I can adapt to any style, and I think I'm going to carry all my experiences here into this tournament, and I think I'm going to carry it well and come away with the win in that Ali Trophy. So I feel very confident, and I'm very happy with the way Barry has managed me, and the team around me is the job they've done. Opportunities, fights, Commonwealth titles. We're going to go for the European for Yigit, but decided not to fight. So I may meet him in the semi-final if he beats Baranchek. So that would be another good fight. And I'm really confident. I've decided to go. I decided not to fight. So then we went and done the WBC and done that, and we went down that route and got me into the #1 ranked contender. So yeah, it's been great, and I'm happy with the way everything's went, and the progression I've made in terms of opponents and the class as well. So yeah, it's good, and I'm feeling really confident. Yeah.
Now, another thing that has followed the name of Josh Taylor around, and do forgive me, is O'Hara-Davies, who is in action next month against Jack Catterall. Just like to see your views on how you think that fight may go.
I think it's quite a close fight, to be honest. But I just think Catterall might have a bit too much in his up his sleeve for him. He's got more about him. He can box a bit, he can move a bit, and it looks like he's heavy-handed as well. So O'Hara's got that punching power, and he's kind of awkward, but he's not really. He can't handle with somebody that moves around. He can't handle with somebody that boxes, and he can't handle someone that's in close with him. So I think that Catterall will probably come away with a win there. Don't know how it will happen, but I think Catterall will win that fight.
Okay, and just lastly, when you kind of joined the McGuigan stable, you were kind of like the young whippersnapper. You were the new kid on the block. You had the likes of Carl Frampton, David Hay for a short period was here. Now you're on the verge of world title fights. You're kind of bridging the gap now. You're part of the old guard. You've got the likes of Lee McGregor underneath you and Callum Smith. How has that been for you? Do you pay any attention to that? Is it different now than it was when you first came into the camp?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, Carl and Conrad were good friends of mine, and we get along well together. I got along really well with Conrad, so it was kind of a bit of a sort of a shame that he left, and it was just sort of kind of quiet around here for a few months afterwards, after them left. So, but I still keep in contact with Conrad, and he's a good laugh, and we still keep in touch together. But the camp here is great. I've got George. I'm looking up to George, and his experiences. He's been round it all. He's seen it all in boxing, So it's good to sort of question him and and see how he does things, and see how he approaches things. It's got, because I want to be where he is. I want to be in the final of the tournament. I want to be world champion, and I want to be in fights that he's been involved in. So it's good to have him in the gym and have him to look up to, and learn of him as well. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good. And the other lads in the gym, Chris and Lee and Luke, we're all pushing each other on. Chantel as well, she's a machine as well. We're all pushing each other on when we're doing all our training together, the circuits and the bag work stuff and all that. So yeah, it's really good. And it's a good feel in the gym. Yeah.
Are you aware of kind of, I mean, because it's something I've spoken to Shane about in the past. I mean, Lee was kind of the cycle behind you in the amateurs, so he kind of sees you now as you're somebody to sort of replicate and look for and kind of take little bits. Does that ever occur to you? Does that ever cross your mind that you've gone from being, I mean, not that you've stopped now because as you mentioned, you've got George, but you've gone from being kind of somebody who's looking to learn from people to somebody that people are looking to learn from?
Yeah, I am aware of it, especially when I go back home in Scotland, I walk into the gym and things like that, and I'm training. There's young lads they'll stop and watch me, how I'm doing things, how I'm hitting the bags, how I'm doing the stuff on the pads, and how I'm training and things. So they're looking up to me. So it's good to sort of then, if you get a chance to then say to them, you know, you got to keep training hard and keep working and believe in yourself and all that sort of stuff, because that was the kind of stuff that, like say, Alex Arthur and Paul Appleby and that used to do to me when I was training. And you know, professionals, Gary Young, I was brought up with professionals since I started, you know, boxing, and they always said them kind of stuff to me every time I was sitting there watching them, wanted to be like all them, and they always gave me a bit of advice. So it's good to now sort of take that advice that they give me and sort of pass it back to the younger ones coming up. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Okay, and just lastly, you mentioned it, George Groves World Boxing Super Series. He's in the final, boxing Callum Smith in Jeddah at the end of the month. Just your views on that fight. I'm sure you're going for your stablemate, but just break it down for me.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm going for my stablemate George. I think it is a good fight, to be honest. It's quite a competitive fight. You know, Callum Smith is a great fighter himself. I was on the GB squad with him in Sheffield for a number of years, and he's a well-rounded fighter. You know, for such a tall fighter, he's good. He's very good up close. Good, throws good tight punches, good body shots, and you know he's got a good variation of punches. So George needs to watch what he's doing, keep switched on, and be fully concentrated. But I do think that George will win the fight. I think he'll outsmart him and outbox him, and sort of cruise his way to a points victory, I think.
Going to make the trip to Jeddah?
Fortunately, no, I'm not. No, I'd like to go. I'd love to go, but you know, I've got to sort of stay here and get my own preparations underway, and I'll be supporting George. I'll be there in spirit, and I'll be shouting at the TV. But you know, I couldn't get a visa anyway. I don't think so. I'll be staying here and training for the few days that are away.
Okay, well, speaking of which, you've now got to go and do some training. As always, pleasure sitting down to speak to you, apart from when you called me old. Josh Taylor.
I still can't believe you're only 28. Like, look at me, look at you. It's 28. Come on.
Well, to be fair, that's it's terrible as well, because you get punched in the face for a living, and I look older than you. Josh
Must be all the fags and booze, mate. Must be all the fags and booze taking its toll.
I don't smoke anymore. Josh Taylor, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. We'll let you get on now. I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, cheers, mate. Cheers.